What is up, everybody? I got the glasses on right now because it is bright outside and there's a dog running around hyper. This is Buddy. Hey, Buddy. Go. Yeah, go play. Go find the ball. All right. He's looking for a ball. I don't have it. I hope you're having a great day. We are doing this well, the last time I'll talk about it, not scenic Florida, but it's outside and it is beautiful today. So I figured I couldn't do this in Florida, so I'm going to do this out in my backyard. Got a little rope swing back there, some wood, and a dog running around happy. He's excited that we're home. He was all very sad. A friend of ours was watching the house, and he likes her, but he really loves his mama. He's a good dog. All right, Matthew chapter 5. We're going to continue in Matthew chapter 5, and I encourage you to share. I was in a Bible study this morning at Panera, and it was great. You know how God works, and this is totally how God works. So often, daily often in my life, and it's I think how He works in a lot of people's lives, but this idea that I was so set to where we were going to go, and I was going to enjoy that time out and study and all that stuff as well. But God blessed me because instead of being there, I got to be here. And by being here, I got to sit at Panera and study the Bible with a friend of mine who texted me yesterday. He wasn't there at our Bible study the previous week, so he didn't know I wasn't going to be there. And he asked, hey, what's being taught? I said, I'm not going to be there. So he immediately took up the banner and was going to teach the next part and did a great job. So we're going through Philippians, and he just took it on and continued studying through it. It was a great study we had. We had a couple friends come with us as well. And I'm really bad with names. I keep calling one Ruth, but it wasn't Ruth. I think it was Becky and Jamie, I believe. So if you guys are there, hi, like, and follow. But it was beautiful because so often we get overwhelmed. And we're going to talk today about, again, Beatitudes. Happy attitudes. And why happy attitudes are so important in our walk with God. Excuse me if the dog running around bothers. But the joy of what it is to be walking with God. And we talked about this, and I don't want you to forget this. And it's an important thing to recognize. And the key to this sermon comes, it's a puppy, that's what's going on. It's a key to the sermon comes out of verse 20. The key to the sermon of chapter 5, the key to the sermon again, for I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. This is not a checklist. But I've heard the phrase constitution. This is the glory of what God will do in you. If not today, then tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, soon and someday. Because ultimately, when this world is done, we will be able to be in front of the presence of the Lord and have this kind of constitution. This is what the constitution of heaven is like. This is the design, the purpose that God had for you and for me. And Jesus is not going to give us something to do that He doesn't affirm us in our knowledge and understanding. So all we're going to continue and we're going to look is this happy attitude, this transformational walk that Jesus does for you and for me. He's making an explanation. Remember, Matthew itself. So 20 is a linchpin to Matthew, I would say, or specifically, if anything, the Sermon on the Mount. But Matthew is a linchpin from this old law. And we'll see here in a minute, we'll see in a while, that Jesus says, I'm not wiping any of this out. Now, some of this you don't got to worry about. The main thing is the sacrifices. Why? Because the sacrifice for sin, it's paid for, it's done away with, it's completed. I have fulfilled. But those other things, I challenge this thought. Think about the 10 Commandments. Which one of those does God say, hey, it doesn't matter anymore? So what he says is, I want you to understand that that was just a teacher. And now knowing and using that as this is how it affects your attitude. So, continuing now in the Beatitudes, Matthew chapter 5 at verse 4. Well, let's pick up at verse 3. I want to not miss this again. The blessings. Happy or blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Understanding your situation, gave you that analogy with the pin and then my face, and the understanding your perspective affects that. That those who understand that they are selfless. The more selfless you are, the more you understand God's position in you, and that you compared to God are lacking. But then that poor in spirit, what did it say? The kingdom is heaven. Let you understand it. And it says blessed, verse 4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Happy are those who mourn, and they will be comforted. Again, the poor, understanding the comparison of your positional state, as I am lacking. I look in this world and I realize that life is hard. But to understand that God says, but I've fulfilled it in you. And I will ultimately fulfill it in you. That's where he says, blessed or happy are the ones who mourn, who understand their position. But now, or blessed are those who are poor in spirit, who understand their position. Now, blessed are those who mourn. Now, what are you mourning? Well, got to understand what we're mourning. What do we do? When you understand your position, then you understand how bad you messed up. We had a debate or discussion, I don't know, discussion, talking about what is sin. And I love the basic, simple analogy, miss the mark. But why that is so important is because you understand without God, you will always miss the mark. So you understand you're not God, and you understand you never can attain it. But this is what he says for those. Once you mourn that, once you understand that, then what does it say? They will be comforted. Again, linchpin, verse 20. But that doesn't take away that these are things ultimately God will make in our lives. God will reveal in our life, manifest in our life. But even at this moment, do you want to know how to be happy? It's the more we understand this. Again, I'm trying to use my trip as an example. But I was mourning. I was sad. I wanted to be in Florida and warm. But understanding, and I'm beginning to. God's got me, and I love to talk to people about God. I would talk to people about God instead of go on vacation for the rest of my life. And then I got to come home safely, spend some time with some good friends, and build more experiences there. Spend some time talking and wrestling that out. And, I'm a little selfish human being sometimes. And then this morning, wake up and be blessed. Might have been a little sad. I understood that, look, it's not my way, it's God's way. My son asked this question when we were at the airport. He's like, Dad, why did God stop this? What are we supposed to do? And I love it. I got to go to coffee with a friend of mine that I never get to go to coffee with. And he texted me out of the blue and says, will you go to coffee? I would have been, he knew I was going, he forgot, but I would have told my friend who reached out, no, I can't. I would have told Becky, and I would have told Jamie, man, I wish I was there with you. But understanding your position, me understanding my position is, God, I want to be available. You get to do things like that. So, the second beatitude, the first one, blessed are the poor in spirit. God's not trying to beat you up. He's just trying to let you know that he has a perfect and perfect design and purpose for you. And once you understand that it's not about you, it's about what God does through you, then the blessings, kingdom of heaven. And blessed are the ones who mourn. I understand that you missed the mark, and that God is the mark. God's going to comfort you through this. And we'll see tomorrow as we look at the next blessing. Blessing are the meek. So often meek in understanding is it's strength over power. This idea, power under control. That's what it is. So I encourage you, share this, read your Bible, move ahead if you'd like, or go slowly with us. It's every day. We'll be going this 10 minutes a day. Love for you to share this and follow along. We'll see if we can find cool places to do this and get in your word. Come to Panera at 9 o'clock on Saturdays if you want. We'd love to have you there. Just get through your Bible. Go find a church home tomorrow, somewhere where they talk about Jesus. I encourage you to do that. Go spend some time with God's people. Spend some time opening and digesting God's love letter for you. My people are in spirit, as you positionally understand that God will see you through. There's so many more things to see. I encourage you to keep reading. Thank you so much for following, sharing, and liking. Hope that you do that. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.